Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Danger Zone podcast. This is episode 11. Sorry this one's coming out a day late, life and things, and that's pretty much just what that is. Trying to stay on schedule, but things in life happen. So here we are on a Tuesday coming out with our new episode. This one starts out a little out of nowhere. Talking about Sesame Street and our beloved puppet / cartoon characters of days past. And then we get into the meat of the episode, which kind of is us talking in a roundabout way of things that we have learned about cosmology and not cosmetology, as you'll hear later, and astrophysics and our rudimentary understanding of all of those things and quantum theory and quantum gravity and quantum computing and all of that. So we do our best to try to regurgitate things that we've heard from actual smart people. So everything we say, feel free to fact check, come back to us. And yeah, but I hope you learned something. A lot of it is basically regurgitated information from people who know what they're talking about. So you can assume that most of it's relatively accurate from a speaking monkey perspective. So, yes, if you're enjoying the episodes, please go ahead and like, share, comment, leave us comments about what you think about the episode, anything you'd like to hear us talk about. And yeah, let's continue these interactions and continue the talk offline after the episodes. So, after that long unnecessary introduction, let's get right into it. The Danger Zone podcast, episode 11. Highway to the danger zone. I'm gonna take it right into the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone.
Yeah, I was all about fucking Sesame Street.
When you were a kid, right? That's not a thing anymore, is it? I mean, I think it exists, maybe.
No, it is. It's on.
Don't watch that shit.
It's on HBO now.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, HBO runs it, but it's still a thing, just like it was.
Wasn't it PBS before? It was like a public thing, like for poor people. Or
yeah. Yep.
Damn, dude. Sesame Street is real. My kids have no fucking clue about Big Bird or Snuffy or any of that bullshit for sure.
I think maybe mine have a little bit, but they know the Muppets a little bit more.
I don't know if mine know Muppets.
Yeah,
I gotta get them into that shit.
Yeah, I need to get them into Sesame Street.
Some Gonzo, bro.
Dude, Gonzo? You coming at me with some Gonzo right now?
Some Gonzo, dude. He had that weird ass loopy nose and shit.
Fucking Super Grover? Don't even get me started on Super Grover. Like, that was my shit. Snuffleupagus? Oh.
Yeah, dude. Snuffy.
Yep.
Hey, bird. So, I love Dave Chappelle's, like, they got this big ass talking pigeon and some elephant that's like drugged out.
He is, man.
Hey, bird. Lit. You want some smack, bird?
And fucking I was gonna say Gargamel. The dude, Oscar, the fucking trash can dude.
Oscar, you're a grouch. Bitch, I live in a trash can.
Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, my daughter was into that shit for a while. Like, she was into Elmo. And,
oh, well, yeah, Elmo, like, transcended, because they came out with that little tickly bitch. That's why.
Yeah. But there was, like, the Elmo movie. Elmo in Wonderland, or whatever the fuck it was. In Grouchland.
No.
Elmo in Grouchland, that's what it was.
Nope, that's not a thing that occurred.
No, it is. And I knew every goddamn song in that movie by heart.
What? When did this movie exist?
Oh,
what?
That came out in, like, I would say the mid-2000s-ish.
Yeah. All right. So I was
where Elmo loses his blankie down into Oscar's trash can when Oscar was at home. And then he dives in after it and goes through like the dimensional portal into Grouchland.
Oh, this is amazing!
Yeah, dude.
I gotta get like really high and watch this.
Oh, you got to.
Oh my god!
It's a modern classic.
It sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds really good. I'm into that.
Yeah.
All right, that's on the list of things.
I won't tell you if he gets his blankie back or not.
No, don't spoiler alert,
but
bro.
The main villain in it is Manny. What's his name? Manny something.
Pacquiao?
That would be fucking amazing. No,
Pacquiao's out there just like punching
the dude. My name is fucking from Princess.
My name is Earl.
No, Princess Bride.
Diary.
My name is Vincent. You killed my father. Now be prepared.
Oh,
to die.
yeah.
That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's got these giant eyebrows that freaked me out. But
dude, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, go watch that.
All
shit.
right.
Gotta
Well, that's
catch
an
up,
easy
man.
to do right there. Where has that been all my life?
I don't
It's like
know.
I'm missing out on a
I think your
huge
kids
chunk.
will still like it, man. Like I watched it like 50 times. They can watch it once.
Yeah, Tootie would be all about that shit. Vinny might eye roll that a little bit. I don't know though. He watches some pretty dumb shit, so there's potential there.
Yeah.
It's better than, dude. Oh my god, I remember when Vinny was. All right, I'm not gonna do this whole podcast about this shit, but Thomas the Tank Engine is the fucking worst thing ever created.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
It's
every parent has had to watch it, and every one of you hated it. And if you didn't, I don't know. There's something wrong. You need to be evaluated.
You know which one I hated the worst was the what is it like
Thomas, bro.
There was another one. I'm not even saying it. I don't want to do that to people. I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Whatever. I'll say I hated Thomas the Tank Engine. All of it. There's not one good thing about that show at all. Thomas is such a dumb little shit.
He is. He's not very sharp.
He's so dumb.
He
and his
fails
little
at
buddy
the most
Percy
simple.
or whatever.
Yeah.
The whole time I was rooting for the Diesels. Because the Diesels were just like, they were getting shit on for no reason. And they were like, why are the Diesels so mean? Because you guys are assholes, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry they run on different fuel.
Team Diesel.
Bro, man. Thomas is not a good show, bro.
No.
All right, I'm sorry.
Hey, have you seen those YouTube videos with Zach Morris's trash?
No.
Oh.
Is that like Zach Morris?
Morris? Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. It's a Funny or Die take where this guy breaks down every episode and explains all the ways in which Zach Morris is like the worst person on the planet. The way he uses his friends, manipulates people for his own gains in every goddamn episode. It's hilarious.
Well, that's true. No, he did. Because he would have those moments like he would deadpan look at the camera and basically be like, I'm going to make this person do this shit or whatever. Like, yeah, that's a real thing. Nobody knows who
in
Saved
every
by the
episode,
Bell is.
there's like one additional character that's never been in it before and never in it again. And the commentator, he'll be like,
because they were murdered.
The narrator, he'll be
Zach.
like, this person was never seen again. Probably because they killed themselves because Zach fucking Morris is trash.
So I learned recently, because of that Lure podcast / show that you told me about, what Saved by the Bell is from.
Yeah. Yes, true.
People being buried alive in the whatever century. So people...
I think it was like 1800s.
Yeah, like 19th century. So morticians came up with this rigging system to where they attached strings to another line that went up from a buried person's casket up to
like a pipe.
6 feet high or whatever. Yeah, so if they were to move because they were still alive, this little fucking bell would ring. I was Saved by the Bell.
The way they explained it was that diagnosing people, declaring people dead, was more of an art than a science. And so,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, just let whoever just lay in bed for a day or two.
Like that one lady that they dug up and they found like claw marks on the inside of her casket.
Everybody check out Lore, man. That shit is solid.
It is. It's really good. It's my bedtime listening.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I had the kids, so I couldn't do that. But I've watched 1 or 2 episodes, and it was really good. Check it out. Amazon Prime.
I think I've
Jeff
probably listened to
Bezos,
about
you
30
son of a
them
bitch.
so far. But I listened to him on Spotify, so
Oh, see? Yeah, all right. See, I haven't done the podcast. I've watched the little 20, 30 minute show or whatever, which is entertaining.
Yeah, he's got like.
And I had seen it on there
the
before,
podcast.
But I didn't know what it was. But it was actually solid. The way they did it was good.
Yeah,
it's good.
super entertaining.
It's
You need
good
to watch
TV
the one
radio.
about the dude that performs the prefrontal lobotomies, like an outpatient
Oh, dude, I
lunchtime.
started watching that one, actually.
Woo, that shit is crazy.
It was rough, man. I got like 10, 15 minutes in, and it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It was like, it was tough.
Yeah.
That was disturbing.
It is. You gotta finish it, though.
I know. I will. It's like still, I gotta get through it. But it's hard because you're like, oh, that's right. This is real. This is actually real shit that happened.
And not that long ago, you know? Like, I mean, it was until the 70s or early 80s when they, like, shut down those type of insane asylums where they performed lobotomies and, you know, just kind of that experimental pseudo psychology shit.
I mean, but that's even like a weird thing that when we look back, and that was cutting edge shit back then, you know?
Yeah.
Compared to whatever barbaric things they did hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And I just think like in the future, when they look back to our time, they're going to be like, oh my God, those monkeys had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like even, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah. But you could expand upon that.
You know, no, I can't. Like, I don't think we'll have the ability to have the hindsight. By then, our dear alien overlords will have taken over and enslaved us, but also bring us, you know, further into
closer
the
to Jesus.
Yeah,
no, definitely.
I would say farther away from Jesus, more.
Well, I don't know. What if they come? What if some aliens show up and they're Bible toting? You gotta.
Dude, if an alien shows up and he's like, "Yo, Jesus was fucking on point."
That's it.
Like, okay, you know, I might give it a second thought. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
You should give it several thoughts.
Well, yeah.
Like, wait, otherworldly.
Well, that's a book I've slammed, so just opening it is like, okay, all right. But
damn,
I'm still like hesitant to believe them because they're fucking aliens. Like, where they been? They've been fucking.
That's a good point.
Like, you know, children are still dying of starvation at 3 months old and all over the world. Like, what's this all about? Like, you know, what is this kind of social experiment? Like, I don't get it.
Maybe
I'm missing the big picture here.
Maybe they just look at us as like we look at like ants. We're like, meh, try not to step on them, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, but they're not even trying not to.
Yeah, they wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
First of all, if aliens do exist, which the term alien can be set to very broad strokes of like
any life form from outside of Earth.
Yeah, but you could have like a single-celled organism that lives on some Jupiter's moon. You'd be like, that's an alien, right?
No, technically it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right.
But we're talking about higher life forms that are capable of some kind of
fine,
like
that's fine.
extra planetary travel.
Yeah. Well, okay, see, my thing with that is if like us as what we would do, and it's hard to think outside of the realm of what we would do, but if you were sophisticated enough to travel at light speed or through whatever wormhole or something you could do to get through space and time fast enough to interact with another species, why would you go yourself? If you're that advanced, just send whatever bot and just let it take samples or feed information back to you. There would be no reason for like an actual living organism to travel through space. Like, that's stupid. Just send your little robot minions.
No, that's like, a solid point. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you're welcome. So that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's
Vin solved the alien debate.
Because what if life forms have evolved in distant reaches of the universe to the point where they can travel through dimensions through pure like will, you know, will of thought. And
yeah.
you can just
I mean, I don't know. The most recent thing that I heard,
like another dimension, another reality, which dude, my mind freaks the fuck out every time I think of the fact that there are so many other dimensions that we can't see, touch, hear, feel, sense, and they could be all around us. We could be basically like ants in a freaking ant farm to higher beings that live in the fourth or fifth dimension even.
Yeah. They like the last thing that I heard from Sean Carroll was that they are speculating or believe, and I don't know what the math or whatever how they get to this is, that there are 10 dimensions somehow
Okay.
But then again, you go like multi-dimensional and string theory and all of this shit. Like,
yeah,
I don't even know. It's so beyond comprehension for normal folk.
Yeah, it is. I remember
Sean
years
Carroll
ago
talks, and I just go, okay, yep, okay, sure, sure, bro.
I think when I first was trying to wrap my mind around like the basics of string theory, what I was hearing and reading was that they think there are 13 dimensions. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's 10 other dimensions.
No, you're right. I do remember hearing 13, and like I said, the most recent thing is somehow mathematically they came up with 10, which I don't know what the fucking difference between 13 and 10 dimensions is.
Fair enough. Maybe they're saying like 10 additional because we live in like a 3-dimensional space right now, you know? But
yeah,
it's still 10, 13. You're right. It doesn't make a fucking difference. It's all unfathomable.
Yeah. Well, that's even like physicists getting to the point they're like, 4 trillion versus 5 trillion. Like, when you're talking about that big of a number,
light
a
years.
trillion difference is actually huge. But when you're talking about 4 trillion and 5 trillion as the bookends of it, it doesn't fucking matter, dude.
Yeah, it's like measuring impossible versus more impossible. They're still
exactly.
both fucking impossible.
You know what actually I have an issue with that, and maybe it's because I am not interpreting it correctly, and it's the potential for infinity.
Okay.
No, I know, that's fair. But like, so the universe as we possibly understand it is not infinity as it stands now, but is the potential for infinity, is the way that it makes sense to me. Because if the universe is expanding at a rate that we understand or try to understand, and we can measure these things, then it's not infinity yet. It has the potential to be infinity because of the fact that it's going to continue potentially to expand forever, which people argue about and think maybe it's just like a cyclical thing that the universe expands and contracts, and that's what the Big Bang is the contraction re-exploding on itself. But so like I've heard certain physicists talk about how because the universe is so huge and infinity is so insane, literally it's like infinity would be you would have an infinite number of monkeys typing on an infinite number of typewriters, and at some point one of those monkeys would write the greatest work of art ever.
Yeah.
Because that's what infinity is.
Yeah.
And rationally, I'm like, okay, I can try to wrap my head around that. I can be like, that technically makes sense. And then I take a step back and I'm like, there's no fucking way a monkey ever, even in infinity, would write the greatest work of all time. But I mean, I guess it technically does make sense if you have forever.
I mean, mathematically, if you just look at it at a pure logical, point of view, infinity means an unlimited amount of tries from an unlimited amount of monkeys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever the odds are. Whatever the odds are,
exactly,
you're gonna hit it.
Yeah,
like just like the lottery. You could say like, we do a 6-number lottery. Take it out to 100-number lottery, but then expand the number of players by infinity.
Right,
you're gonna get fucking winners all over the place.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. But that was like, so somebody was talking about how, all right, so in this world of infinity, which is technically our universe, that those things exist. But I was like, man, our universe isn't actually infinite. It just has the potential to be infinite because it just continues to go.
Well, my understanding is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's just hard for me to, I'm trying to like put these things together that like, I feel like the fact that the universe is expanding, at least at every moment in time, is a finite area, if that makes sense. Even though it keeps growing, if you took a snapshot,
there is a boundary, but it's growing.
Right.
So how can, like, if today it's smaller than it will be tomorrow, then
or
clearly
now,
it's not the biggest it can be. Like
right, exactly. So it has a potential for infinity.
I think
but it's not.
I think the better way to phrase it would be it's virtually infinite, because there's nothing that can catch up to the edge. Like they say in what is it, like 150 years, like it will have expanded so much that the beginnings of the universe will have spread out too far for our telescopes to ever catch up with that, with those, with that light to see it. So it's, it's expanding faster and faster and faster, and at a rate that it's getting more out of reach. So it's virtually infinite already to us.
Like there are things that are already or will be lost to the cosmos.
Yeah.
And who was it? It was Lawrence Krauss, I think, who was talking about how.
Look at you,
and Sean Carroll.
Dropping.
I know, man.
I
know.
This guy's
I know
degree,
these physicists.
Man.
I know cosmology is my shit, and I have no idea what you're talking about. Lawrence Krauss was talking about, and Sean Carroll, who disputes this, and I'm like, God, like, whose side do you take on something like this? But he was talking about how the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. So light will never be able to leave those outer edge planets or solar systems or galaxies or whatever.
They would
so we'll never be
able
to see them.
Wouldn't it?
Exactly. To us, they will always be in darkness, even though. So we'll never actually get to see the outer limits of what the expanding universe is because the light will just never reach us. And Sean Carroll said that was bullshit. And I was like, damn, Sean. But all right, bro. I don't know.
I'm gonna check that podcast out.
Yeah, somebody wiki that for us real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put a math table up on the board.
Yeah. I think I missed my calling, man, because theoretical physics, it's so goddamn interesting.
Yeah, it is, but dude, who did I just listened to Sean talk to another cosmologist. He was an Italian French gentleman. And I was like,
wait.
Okay, I recognize that word.
Are you using cosmologists like tongue in cheek?
No.
Isn't cosmologist like a person that does like makeup?
No, it's cosmetologist. Cosmologist is a real thing.
Cosmetologist is...
Yeah, cosmologist. Get rid of the T and whatever, and then all of a sudden you're a brilliant physicist and not a makeup entrepreneur.
See, this is the downside of like taking a few shots of vodka and slamming half a bottle of wine right before.
Dude, a letter and a syllable make a huge difference on what you're trying to convey to somebody. Language is important, people. Come on.
Words.
But yes, no, cosmologist.
Wait. Oh, cosmetology is like the... Okay, got it.
Yeah. There we go.
And I was feeling all caught up fucking now. Smart for like 2 minutes.
That was beautiful. I loved it.
It's cool.
You.
Keep it real.
You're like, bitch, you keep saying this thing, and I don't think you know what you're talking about.
No, you do.
Which is totally fair.
I don't. Okay.
Totally fair.
So cosmetology, keep going.
Yeah. So these two cosmetologists were talking about the universe.
And there's nothing wrong with being a cosmetologist. I guess a totally legit thing. Like
I have to go see one every 2 weeks or so, and I appreciate what they do for me. Because otherwise, I'd look like an ape person. But no, I agree with what you're saying. I think it would be amazing, and just the study and the math behind it. I like the idea of something that works mathematically. Like my two brains, that I somewhat enjoy creativity, but I also enjoy things that function in like a set realm of these things have to fit together. And there's no like disputing this shit. There's no philosophical bullshit behind it. Like the math works or it doesn't work. And if not, you can fuck off, and that's just the way it is. But so listening to these guys' podcasts, these ridiculously smart individuals, I was just pulling out words. I was like, oh, I know that word. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what it means completely, but I've heard it several times.
I might be able to use it in a sentence someday in the right circumstance. I could throw it in there.
Yeah. No, that's like Okay, I could try really hard to explain at a very rudimentary level what quantum mechanics is, and it would be really rough, but I could almost kind of do it.
Yeah. You know, the
And
best way I could, I was just explaining to somebody the best I could. You know, and I've listened to a few hours of people trying to break it down. And
yeah, exactly.
I've almost got it down to like a 1 minute summary. But the best way is the cryptography aspect of it. Like, say,
yes,
like if you go down the list of possible combinations, a computer can only do so many combinations so fast to try and break a cipher. So
yeah,
a crypto computer, the power comes in being able to do virtually an unlimited amount, a little bit at a time, but across like almost an infinite spectrum.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's a huge application for that.
Yeah,
and then,
it'll be the first thing that's used for. That's without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's where they get like a lot of their funding from and everything.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, like besides breaking codes, it's great for somebody who's trying to conceal codes because you can literally look at it, and once it's been looked at and the code's been broken, then that's it. That's the end of the breach, and it doesn't exist anymore because of whatever quantum state it is. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Once it's been seen, everybody knows it's been seen, and that's it.
Yeah, then it's just out there.
And it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
The whole quantum thing is nuts. Even if you get down to like when Sean Carroll was trying to explain like the electron cloud, and he was like, you see whatever element, and they have one electron.
It's all probability that it's in this location, and probability that's in this location.
Exactly.
And if you draw a picture of it, it looks like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like if you take a picture of whatever tornado is spinning around, you have that one glimpse of it moving in this one direction because that's the moment in time that you decided to look at.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. If you look at a tornado, you can't say like, well, there's a point of the tornado and there's. You just have the whole picture of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when you look at it as the cluster of what it is, it's just this cloud of
debris and particles and dirt and whatever it's picked up and kind of thrown around in the air. But all parts are not equal. It's not concentrated in the same exact way everywhere. And it's constantly, instantly shifting and changing.
Yeah, and that's the like electron cloud of it. It's technically so people were saying it's super positioned and here and it blinks in and out of existence. It's like, no, it's in all of those places, spinning clockwise and counterclockwise and in every possible position that it could be in all at once, but you're just choosing to see it in this one state. So that's what you're observing, but that's not the true nature of what it is.
Yeah.
Quantum shit's crazy, bro.
It is. And you know what? When I first started like trying to understand the quantum theory and quantum computers and stuff like that, and like the ones and zeros, and they're both, and the electrons, the electron cloud is actually in all these places, but concentrated here and here and here probably. Yeah. That's when I really understood the, I guess, importance or the relevance of the Schrodinger's cat. Because
oh god, I hate that so much.
I did too, but that's what it is.
I still do.
The box is closed, so the cat is both alive and dead because you don't know.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's both a 1 and a 0. You don't know where at in the fucking middle it is, but it's yeah.
No, it's true. And then you have to impose your own will onto whatever it is, and you reveal what you see at that moment. But that's all that is.
Yeah. As soon as you close the box, it's up in the air again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the cat thing. It's like, I mean, it's good. It is a good thing. You really technically don't know.
Yeah, and I always thought it was stupid. I was like, how is this science? Like, but with the quantum computing, the explanations that I've heard, it kind of fits, and like it's along the same path, the same logic.
Yeah, and what was the other thing? So when they do. Oh man, they had this one moment where they said they, like, quote unquote, teleported something for the first time, which isn't technically accurate as most people would describe it. But it was something along the lines of where things can be quantumly like linked, and I know this is not the right way to say it. So they had basically, and you have to do it in a completely closed environment. Like you can't have anything that would interact with the particles like light or air, anything.
Has to be in a vacuum.
And so so they would have one particle that was linked to another particle. One of them was sent to the space station. And then when one particle on Earth was manipulated, the particle that it was bound to that was on the space station reacted in the exact same way. So they quoted it as being like, quote unquote, teleported, which isn't really what we would think of as teleportation, but it was just, I mean, it's still insane that you can manipulate something on Earth and have something that's on the goddamn space station react the exact same way, but somehow that's like quantum, what is it? It's not quantum, it's pairing or time. What the fuck is the...
So I think, I might be wrong, but there is something that I was listening to not too long ago where they were talking about electrons all phase in and out on the same like the same time frame. They're all in the same universal clock. And so when they sent like the intergalactic probe out into the world with like humanity
the intergalactic probe.
So like Carl Sagan.
Yes, please.
Carl Sagan narrated it, and they sent this.
The gold disc.
Yeah, out there, and it had just information about where we are, music, and so how do you communicate time to somebody with a different solar system? Because our solar system on Earth, we revolve around the sun, and we have our days and minutes and hours set up to that. So
depending on where you are in a body of mass, your time would be different.
Yeah, and
regardless.
Even on Mars, time is different. On Jupiter's time's different, and there's so many variables. So how do you convey that to something, to another intelligent life form that might intercept it hundreds of years from now, millions of miles away? Well, apparently electrons switch on and off at the same frequency no matter what. So they base it off of the frequency of electrons changing positions. And
that's
it's like
smart.
A universal truth.
Smart bastards.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you have to go back to.
Yeah.
You have to go back to some sort of mathematical thing, because mathematical truths should exist across time and space.
Thought that like electrons universally are on the same sort of biological clock, or whatever you want to call it. Like that one little simple fact is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember I was hearing something about I shouldn't even get into this. I don't know enough about it. But something about
deep water now.
The metabolic rate and the heart rate and the lifespan of humans has something to do with
the heartbeats?
Multiple something to do with fractions of 4. 4 is a very important number for us in our natural like metabolic state. I don't remember how or why. I'm gonna look it up and I'll get back to all of us on that shit. So, but going back to time, you know what fucks me up is I still like I can try to conceptualize what time is and what it's supposed to be, and mathematically what people believe time is, and it's actually proven. Like you have time on whatever, like what is it, the nuclear clocks, or what are the atomic clocks that are in space or whatever like that. Like they have to run at different rates depending on what their distance from Earth is and everything like that, and it can all be calculated. And time actually does move faster or slower, I can't remember which one it is, for something that's in space than it does on Earth, which is fucking crazy. And I still have such a hard time wrapping my head around it. Like the movie Interstellar, when they go closer to the planet that's closer to the black hole.
Yeah. And
spoiler alert, assholes in the spaceship, and they've been there for like 20 minutes, but he's been hanging out in the space station for 20 years. I'm like, dude, but it was only 20 minutes. Yeah. Where did your 20 years come from? You saw them fly, they parked, they did their thing, and then they flew back. Like, how?
So my
it hurts my brain so much.
Understanding of this is that gravity is
no, I know
gravity is the strongest force that is known to us, right? As far as
theory,
like, what?
The theory of gravity.
Theory of gravity.
Yeah.
On our flat Earth, it pulls everything towards the one direction.
Right.
So it's so strong that it also affects light, and it affects time. So the closer you are to such an enormous gravitational field, such as a giant planet with a lot of mass, it also affects time.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you were to look at the universe, galaxy, whatever, as a flat plane, then each individual...
Wait, it's not?
I hate you so much right now. Like, each individual planet would occupy... Basically, they would create, like, a dip in space-time continuum. So the greater the size and mass of, like, Jupiter compared to Earth... Jupiter would have a greater dip in the flat space-time continuum, and you can like kind of play that out in a visual aspect of seeing like the greater, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I am kind of visualizing almost like a pebble in a pond, except for like in all directions.
Yeah,
kind of
literally, if you were to take like some memory foam shit, and you have an egg on one end, it creates a little dip. And then you have a bowling ball on the other end. It creates a much larger dip.
Yeah.
That's basically the space-time continuum, and that's how those things flow and travel. And that's why those things get sucked into things with larger masses, because they create that larger kind of vacuum divot in space-time. And these things I can say, but rationally don't understand, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks, math, Einstein, and all you guys.
Who would have thought... Honestly, that these subjects would become like the average person, because we're pretty average dudes, and like this is like an interesting sort of side hobby that we like listen to and try and absorb and understand, like this.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But that's the age we live in, you know, and when knowledge, literally, like degrees from colleges, are so outdated, antiquated that.
Oh God! Don't get me started on that.
They're not even necessary, except for to say you have it. That's it, because you can learn almost everything that mankind knows without ever going to school.
Oh yeah.
But we're still stuck in this you
have the greatest minds on the internet.
Yeah.
You have somebody like Jordan Peterson. You have Sean Carroll. Yeah. You have Sam Harris. Like, you have the greatest minds that broadcast content constantly.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson, like jump on Netflix and watch 18 hours of him explain the universe.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for somebody like me, that's the way that I need to take in content. Yeah. Sitting in a classroom or reading a book.
The greatest, minds. Like, a lot of those, like, they're also the greatest at... Some of the greatest at explaining it in a way that's
conveying
accessible.
The information.
And that's such a key skill. If you could be the smartest person on earth, but if you are unintelligible to the average person that isn't as educated as you, then you're not going to be able to spread the knowledge. And that's what I love about, like, especially Neil deGrasse Tyson. That dude is a national treasure.
He is.
Because I could listen to him explain anything, and it's just delightful. It really is just delightful.
No, it is. And he just says it in such like a passionate way that pulls you in, and he says it in a relatively as basic as he can way, and it's just so enticing, and he just pulls you in, and you just want to hear him speak.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, people that have that gift, we're lucky.
Yeah.
I was watching Lawrence Krauss, and he was giving a talk, and he had 5 or so cosmologists with him, and one of them got up to talk, who was the winner of some Nobel Science Prize for discovering something crazy. That was the eyeshadow
that doesn't wash off, right? Oh no, that was a cosmetologist. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's almost
sorry.
the same thing
Almost
though.
same.
I think he had detected the collision of like two black holes or something like that, and they whatever.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's yeah.
Skip.
But he was so painful to listen to that it made like the Sean Carrolls and Neils and Lawrence Krauses of the world just stand out so much more. And you're like, thank God these people exist that can sit and try to convey these ideas to people like you and me. Because otherwise, man, Jesus.
Yeah. And the crazy
even
thing
still,
is, like, people like us, and there's lots of us, we're not, we might be on the good side of average, but we're not, crazy smart by any stretch.
Yeah, by no means at all.
We still
like a talking
we're not
monkey.
learning this because we're going to teach courses on it or make a living on it. That's not our goal. It's purely interest, and it's purely for it's knowledge for knowledge's sake. And God, that's one of my favorite things about this time in life, in this period of sort of where we are as a species, is that we are in an information boom. If you look at the timeline and how information was, how it was accessible before, like go all the way back to where everything was spoken word, and then writing developed, but it was, like cave fucking writing on walls, and then hieroglyphics, and then the language evolved, and now we're at a point to where anything can be shared to any corner of the earth or space in an instant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true,
and
man.
then recalled over and over by everybody and stored. Yeah.
And like even on top of that, the fact that we have enough leisure time to be able to dedicate time in our lives to explore things like that. Like, when in history did you get to set aside time of cultivating whatever, or there's always some life issue that you had to be working on besides not having the availability of the information on top of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now,
I think we tend to glorify our ancestors as all being single-minded in their their chores of the day from dusk till dawn, and I think there's a lot more leisure time. So there are certain periods for certain cultures that had it really rough, for sure. But I think overall, there was a lot of just fucking off. I mean,
that could be true. I mean,
I don't give humanity like that much credit to where like suddenly we've all become slackers. No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a matter of being slackers, but no, I think what you originally said is probably more correct. Our availability and of information, and for us to be able to intake information in our leisure time, has made the difference, as opposed to maybe just being self-contemplative or in your family or your little town or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, now the world has opened itself up to you.
Yeah.
You know what pisses me off about all of this is, like,
what grinds your gears?
I think the world would be a real different place if we got rid of lights. Like, if you could see the night sky, and you could walk out every night and you could see all of the world, people would have a lot different perspective on things.
Dude,
but I think the diffusion of light, and the fact that I could walk out right now, I could see a handful of stars and the moon and maybe a planet or something like that, and that's all I would see, just takes away from just what the universe is and our little role in all of it.
Yeah.
And
where's the one of the what is
Chile?
that called? Is it Chile? Where they
Chile
have
has
like not the planetarium, it's the observatory.
No, they have they have one of the best observatories in the world.
Yeah, because it's like on such a a high elevation with little light diffusion, and
and the whole town around them uses whatever light to make sure that it doesn't go up in the atmosphere or anything like that.
Exactly. So man, we should look at like a really short trip down to Chile.
When
we go to
Peru, then Chile,
and then like Chile,
it's right there, bro.
Do just, even if it's just one night, to do the observatory, and then one night to party a little bit, and then come back.
Yeah.
Do another ayahuasca thing, like one before,
Obviously.
one after.
Yeah, one before,
one after. You gotta compare and contrast, man. Like,
well, especially after you've seen the universe, and then you come back, and then you reevaluate life. If nothing else, if you can't split the time,
you can get the questions in your mind. Like, you get an idea of what to ask the universe the next time you come back. And then when you see the machine elves and shit, you can be like, there's my answers, I know what to ask now.
Yeah. And then you've seen it all, and you come back with...
If anybody's listening to this, there's probably a lot of people lost. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Peru?
This makes no sense. The machine elves are real.
Yep.
Just go on your spiritual journey, and you will find them.
Yeah. No, we got to do that. We got to go to Peru.
I think that's the move, though. I think if nothing else, if we can't split the trip, we go Chile, take all of that in, and then go to Peru, and then boom, and then you just blast off back into space.
Yeah.
That's the move.
I kind of like that, too.
That's the move.
So we're looking at May, right?
for everybody listening now, we're making travel plans during this podcast.
Hey man, you want to join us? Like, seriously, like, it's open, man.
If anybody wants to get down on this, we're thinking next May. Go ahead and Google some flights to Chile and then Peru and back home.
So we're going to Chile for about 2 days probably. We're going to do an observatory. Then we're going to do just kind of a local food and
2 nights,
and drink.
3 days, 2 nights.
And then head up to Peru and do probably like a rainforest river trip. Go see Machu Picchu and do a heavy dose of ayahuasca during an ayahuasca ceremony with some shamans. It'll be a great fucking time, man.
On several occasions.
I would say twice is good.
Like, 2 or 3.
Yeah, maybe 3. I don't know. Depends on what else they got going on. If I'm bored, maybe 3. Depends what answers I get,
There are always more questions to be answered,
That's true.
Always.
So, but I mean, so back to, I totally wanted to talk about aliens.
And I know.
We started
Go ahead.
talking
Sorry,
about it,
you're
and then
right.
we got off. So,
yeah, that's my fault.
But when we were talking about the probability, the size of space, and the ever expanding infinity, that also translates over to the possibility of advanced life forms. And whatever that possibility is, just like the lottery, whatever that is, expanded over infinity, it's bound to be there in large numbers, honestly. And
I mean, yeah.
So the question shouldn't really be, are there other forms of intelligent life out in the universe? Yes. The only question is, like, have they visited us? Have they developed a way to travel through the universe in great distances? That's the only question that really remains.
Yeah. Well, and the hard thing is with a lot of all of this is that we put our own person onto what we expect extraterrestrial life to be, to some extent, even if you don't do it kind of implicitly, like their shape or form, but you still kind of have this idea of like, oh, if I were to do that, I would act in this way.
Human characteristics, like
qualities. Like, oh, if we were to explore space and find these creatures, this is what we would do. But there's no reason why some other civilization anywhere would act any way like we would, or travel or think or anything like that like we would. Even the Goldilocks paradox kind of pisses me off. Like, why do, and you see this like in our own solar system with there possibly being life on like one of Jupiter's moons. Which one is it? Titan?
Yeah.
The one that's covered in ice and they think they're like miles of water.
Yep.
Like, why does life have to have developed in this quote-unquote Goldilocks zone?
Well, even
why
on
does
Mars,
it have to be...
didn't they find evidence of like underground water on Mars just recently?
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know that it still exists or that it did at one point.
Like that it still exists, or at least the there are underground like lakes like carved out like that they think were caused by water.
Like
I don't
like we have.
I don't
on
remember
Earth.
the details whether they think there's still water there, but there was definitely an article that said that there were signs that there at least was water up below the surface of Mars.
Yeah, I at least am know that they believe that there was at least there seems to be riverbeds and river channels that exist that would prove that there was at least at one point in time water on Mars, which would, in our understanding of the way that life develops, mean that there's probably some form of life on Mars, you know. And that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, single-celled organism, like that fucking counts. Count that shit.
Oh yeah.
With bacteria,
that's how we
whatever
started.
It was. Yeah, that's the thing. That's how it all. Yeah, exactly. You can't discount it like, oh, it didn't get to become a mammal. But like, well, fuck you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Jesus didn't talk about dinosaurs on Mars. What if there were dinosaur? What if we found dinosaur fossils on Mars?
Dude, I would be so happy. Like for unknown
Wouldn't that
reasons,
be amazing?
I would just be happy.
I don't even know. I don't know how I got there, but that would be so cool, right?
That would be so cool.
Dinosaurs were everywhere.
Oh,
they propagated the universe.
Oh man, they were actually like geniuses. They just didn't have opposable thumbs. So,
dude, how do you feel about the Prometheus theory of life?
Like, what do you mean? That there was something that planted the seeds of life on Earth? Like
like there was some sort of like a hybrid something that, I mean, I don't know.
A higher life form or an alien species.
Like something planted the seed or something even crossbred something from Earth with some sort of extraterrestrial life or something like that.
I like entertaining the idea, like, and I don't think there's any evidence that can be even gathered to prove it one way or another. So it'll probably be one of those theories that's always out there just because it's impossible to disprove.
I mean, it's a fun one.
And I mean, in the realm of reality, it is possible. Like, we don't know.
Could be.
It is.
Could be. I mean, I think like it's highly unlikely. I mean, like I said at the start of the podcast.
I mean, if you're being serious, like, yeah, it's highly unlikely. But
to rule things out, I mean,
it's impossible to rule out.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of things that are impossible to rule out. That's like, you can have an open mind about a lot of shit. Because to prove or disprove something in a lot of aspects is really tough.
Yeah.
And that's where me and religion get really contentious. Yeah. Because as much as I would like to say that it makes no sense, it's really hard for me to technically disprove it. And while I'll sit there all day and say that...
There's a difference between proving a negative
all right.
and not being able to disprove something.
I didn't mean to take this back to episode whatever the fuck.
Yeah, like 6
or
whatever.
Yeah. But, I mean, no, it comes back to, like, if that was a higher alien race, they wouldn't come here by themselves, but it doesn't mean they couldn't send a droid of some sort to inject DNA into something into our planet.
So if an alien race were to travel great distances to reach us and come upon our little planet, what would their motivations for doing so be? And
who knows?
Could they possibly be benevolent? I mean, seriously?
Maybe. They could be assholes.
Like, they're most likely to be expansionists and conquerors. Like,
I would say if they're that far advanced, well, see, this is all speculatory. I don't know. Because then you have, like, maybe they're so far advanced that they've come to a place of peace and they interact peacefully with the world. Or maybe they were the conquerors of their world and they came to this place of power and they could see all of us. They could see all of us as we see kind of the, I don't want to say the rest of the living things that dwell on the earth, but I mean, no offense, I'm going to squish a spider and not feel a fucking thing about it because, you know, they're pests. Especially if you came to our planet, you're like, dude, these humans are fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
What are they doing? First of all, they hate each other, which is nuts. Okay, cool. They kill each other all the time. Like, I don't want to go talk to them because that's a terrible idea.
How can we reason with these insane creatures?
We're still monkey people for sure.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's
hard for me to see a scenario in which they're not like overlords, like
just conquerors
that either exterminate us and just take the natural resources, suck it up and leave, or make a settlement or whatever. But
yeah,
I just don't see them showing up and being like,
hey guys,
here's a fucking flux capacitor and it'll solve all your problems, and just handing alien tech over to us.
Maybe we already have alien tech and we just
that's
don't know
like
about
when the Roswell shit. They think like the advancements in the 50s and 60s,
exactly,
like microwaves and shit like that, and some of the radio, the frequency, hopping, not frequency hopping, but some of the satellite communications and things like that were developed using like sort of reverse engineering alien tech from the Roswell spacecraft. I don't believe any of that garbage, but that's kind of a theory.
Caveat real quick.
Yeah.
But
it's all
yeah. No, I mean, I agree. But yeah, that's something. I don't know, man. Technology is crazy right now. When I look at things when they're talking about having nanobots in your bloodstream, how in the shit is anyone taking and creating something that is so microscopically tiny as a nanobot that can interact like with your biome in an intelligent way? It's like,
yeah,
I have no idea. No. It's that somehow that is far beyond me than like cosmology and shit. I don't know why. And that was a huge push for when I was listening to cosmologists, is they were like, dude, we lost funding because they're like, all right, your little space exploration and all of your hypothetical theories, like, what has that done for me lately? They're like, you know what we need to do? We need to invest in bioengineering. Boom. Let's make people live longer. Let's create nanobots and all this shit. And that's where the bio industry has like all of the monies.
Wouldn't the right word, the reason I think I was hung up on the cosmology is because isn't the right term, like, wouldn't it be astrophysics or astrophysicists?
Yeah. I mean,
is there a difference, or is that like a synonym?
I would have to get back to you on that.
I don't know. I think they're really closely related, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah. No, cosmologist, astrophysicist, cosmology.
I don't know.
I would assume that maybe cosmologist is like the greater, like wider scale of what an astrophysicist would be encompassed under.
Okay, yeah.
And then like under cosmology you would have an astrophysicist and then whatever other fucking asshole and then this other guy, and they just fall under the scope of quote unquote cosmology maybe.
Okay. No.
Also, I made all of that up, but it could make sense.
I'm following your logic. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just like so there was you know what Pangea is, right? There was an area of land before Pangea, like hundreds of millions of years before Pangea, called Rodina, from the Russian Rodina, like birthplace, homeland, motherland. So the original sort of cluster of land was called, I'm assuming because it was a Russian scientist that discovered it, and coined the phrase. But so before Pangea was Rodina, and
wait,
go ahead.
You have to explain that to me though, because so Pangea, as far as I understand it, was basically the one cluster of landmass that existed before it broke off into what eventually became now.
Yeah.
So what was this Rodina prior to Pangea? Was it the smaller scale version and then the expansion into Pangea?
The way I understand it is around 700 million years ago, give or take a few, dozen millions of years.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter, right?
So we'll say 700 million years ago, roughly, there was a cluster of landmass, like a large Pangea-like mass of land, and through some kind of event, they spread apart, and there's evidence apparently of them spreading apart quickly. Maybe it was because of a polar shift of a sudden polar shift in the north-south pole, more than a 50-degree angle or something like that. There's a lot of variables. But anyway, so the tectonic plates, there was a big disruption, and they shifted and moved apart in different ways. And over the next 300-400 million years, they gradually shifted back together and ended up forming Pangea, which is, I think it's Greek for like one land or something like that. But anyway, so that was like 275 million years ago was Pangea. And then that went until there was some other seismic event, like a meteor or whatever it was, that broke up Pangea.
And you start to get the split.
And the tectonic plates shifted again, and now we have...
and now here we are. Yeah. And things still move on a constant basis, even though you don't even realize it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, we live on like a year, 10 years, 100 years.
Exactly.
And the Earth lives on like a million years at a time to make a small movement.
Yeah. For us to say like, oh, California is moving into the ocean at 4 yards every 50 years or 100 years, you're like, oh, okay.
That's not true, when you put... But okay.
No, yeah, I totally made all that up. I just totally made all that up. I made all that up. It's something like it moves, I don't know, several inches over however many hundreds of years or some crazy bullshit. But yeah, when you look at it on a universal scale of millions of like Earth years, then it becomes exponentially insane and the growth is crazy. But yeah, it is something like a few, like several inches every however many years. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's very marginal.
Yeah. Until the oceans rise and then California doesn't exist anymore.
No, just the big cities that are low lying. We just lose, some coast, and then the land inward becomes coast. So.
Yeah, new coast cities. That sucks, man. I would miss Big Sur. It's a good spot. It's one of my favorites.
Think about like, just go in like 150 miles, buy a bunch of that farmland. And in 50 years, man, that shit will be fucking ocean.
I mean, that's kind of the move. That's true. Just buy random land in the middle of California.
Grow artichokes for 50 years and then fucking retire a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Cali. Sorry, bros.
Yeah.
I'm going to be super sad when that happens.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, shit, man. We did an hour of, I don't even know.
Astrophysics.
Welcome, everybody.
And aliens.
Sort of. Take everything we said with a grain of salt, but most of it was pretty. Most of it was relatively accurate. Yeah. Fact check this shit to some extent, but
you can rely on like the general gist. Like we're not completely making shit up. We're going on some somewhat semi-educated opinions.
Yes, we're taking this from people that are educated in the subject, but. I don't know. This was a good one. I really, of all the times I say I enjoyed this podcast, I really enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah, me too, actually. Me too. This is the first one I've enjoyed.
Damn, thanks for coming on this ride with us. I hope you got a little something out of it. Go ahead, take everything that we said and research yourself. Go look at Sean Carroll all day, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Lawrence Krauss.
No, not gossip. Gospel.
Yeah. It's Cosmology, not Cosmetology. But if you want to enroll in your local cosmetology school, there's nothing wrong with that either. Love yourself.
All right.
So with that, damn, this was a good one. Thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
All right. That was it for today. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. It's something that I know I spend some time trying to understand. I listen to the same podcast episodes from people like Sean Carroll over and over and over again, just to try to get some semblance of an understanding of 1% of all of the things that he talks about, because it's so crazy. But yes, so definitely check him out. Everybody that we named in the podcast, go follow all of their stuff. Listen to their podcasts, YouTube videos. The stuff is amazing. It'll blow your mind. And if you can comprehend even a small fraction of it, that's like a huge win because it's nuts. So thanks for hanging with us today. We'll be back on Thursday. It's going to be another fun one. I think we're going to be talking about gun stuff. So get ready for that. That's going to be after kind of what happened in Florida with the stand your ground thing that recently happened. It was something that we wanted to revisit and talk about. It's something that Chris has been very vocal about in the past that some of you may or may not know about. So it's going to be fun, be a good discussion and all of that, like always. So thanks for listening, hanging with us. We will see you back on Thursday. And as always, please be good to each other.